And of course, it begs the question. I don't know that we've just asked you straight. Have you ever seen this guy before?
No.
Don't know him. He doesn't look like somebody you've seen somewhere before with somebody else. I mean, as you remember back, as you picture him in your mind, you cannot make any link between this guy and you.
No, I mean, I wasn't looking directly at his face. I was trying not to look at him. I do know when he did get in, there was something familiar about him, but I don't know him. So I don't know if I don't know. He seemed familiar, like I should know him, but I do not know him.
And forgive me if Kevin asks this, did he have, I know you say he's a Caucasian male, but did he have any type of accent that was noticeable to you?
I didn't know, because he was bumbling, slurring, and at first I didn't really notice anything, but like I said, he was getting so excited and stuff. As he was yelling at me, I mean, it was like he was drunk. I mean, he was, I literally, like his tongue was this thick. I didn't know what was going on. I figured he was on something, alcohol or something. I didn't know. I knew something was not right because as he was getting excited, it was getting worse.
Okay. The slurring was getting worse.
Yes.
The stumbling on his words. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't hardly understand what he was saying. I could pick out like certain words, but he said one phrase inside made no sense. He said, I think he said it out in the garage or out in the car too. Something about killing my wife. And I'm like, I mean, I didn't say anything, but it was weird. His wording.
You said it out in the car?
He said it out in the car, yelling at me, and when he was saying he was going to kill me.
All right. Chase, what do you got?
Y'all are going to cover some body language here, so I'll cover something else. I want to show you how guilty people reveal themselves in interviews, and this is the most common error I think I've ever seen them make in all of our history. They have a piece of information that makes them feel guilt, and it's a piece of information that will be comfortable and fine for an innocent person to say. But for a guilty person to say it, it's a phrase or a sentence that just ramps up their anxiety internally, and by associating their thoughts with guilt. And here's how it happens. They know the statement's coming up that they're going to have to say, so they build a ramp to the statement instead of just saying it outright. They build this little ramp so that they feel better about saying the phrase, and they'll use language to set the stage for the anxiety inducing statement. Innocent people do not do this. And you can hear the ramp. She says, yeah. I couldn't hardly understand what he was saying and could pick out like certain words, but he said one phrase inside, makes no sense. He said, I think he said it out in the garage or out in the car too. Something about killing my wife. Then I'm going to pass this to Scott because I think this is the biggest fading facts moment in behavior panel history.
Got it in there.
Scott?
I believe you are correct. I'll leave it there. You nailed it. No need for me to hit it. Now, quite often when a person is fiddling with their neck or a necklace or goof around up here, you can look at that as the same thing as hitting that suprasternal notch or a neck touch. So we've got that going on. So that it's the same as that. Stress and something's really bothered. There's an issue here. When he starts asking her about whether she knows the guy or not, she got pretty quiet at that point. Every other thing, she's got an answer for it because she's been going through all those things, giving details and making details up and stuff. So she gets mighty quiet when it comes up to something she knows and that she knows she shouldn't know. She gets mighty quiet there. And what we're seeing at this point is she's starting to slow down. She's starting to crash. She's starting to get gassed because her cadence slows down. It changes. Her volume's getting lower. Everything's changed at this point. She's getting she's a little bit shorter than she was earlier. And it's not just from being interrogated, but it's her brain is getting tired. Her mind is tired from thinking up all these tiny little details she's having to come up with and try to look like everything's okay. So that's really important here to see what's happening, because normally you get tired after a while, after you're sitting there 45 minutes, an hour, you start slowing down. But in this case, she's tired and her brain is tired. That fist to chin thing and to her neck, that's part of her baseline now. That's one of the things we're seeing. And the leg rub is as well. We're seeing these things over and over and over again. So when you see her, you think, okay, well, shoot, at this point, things have changed so much. That's part of her baseline. What I'm looking for at this point is our cues of being honest. There's so many deception cues. You have to get like a squeegee and get them out of the way and start looking for little spots of being honest. And I haven't really seen any yet. I think this is one of the greatest ones we've ever done for someone who wants to learn about what deception looks like. You're sitting right in the middle of it when you watch this. Mark,
Scott,
what do you got? Yep.
Can you do a little education on what fading facts are, how they can spot it, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So when you ask someone a question and they're being deceptive about it, they may open up like she does quite often, as being kind of loud and talking about it. But as they get closer to the end and their brain's saying, dude, you're lying, you shouldn't be doing this, then they start to get quieter at the end of when they start to finish up the sentence. And it'll happen over and over again. You'll ask them another question. They'll say, well, this, that, and that happened. And I'm pretty sure that wouldn't happen as often as it would. And they'll back up usually just a little bit, about that much, not a whole bunch, but they'll back up a little bit as they're doing that. Not every time, but most of the time. So listen for the volume of when they talk. If it starts going down toward the end, doesn't necessarily mean they're lying to you. There are no absolutes, as we are all the time preaching. But that's part of a cluster. So once you hear that, you go, oh, wait, I need to start paying attention. And see if you can find some other things going on in that person talking that let you know that this might be something deceptive you're listening to at this one. How's that, Chase, you think?
Fabulous.
All right. Mark?
Yeah. So the important thing about fading facts is that the volume is incongruent. It doesn't fit, because you would expect by the time this important fact comes, this major element, this important thing, that's the thing that should have the stress on. That's the thing that the volume should ramp up on. And so when it fades at the end, you kind of think, hang on, that's odd. That doesn't sit right. It's incongruent. Here's another thing that's incongruent with the tonality. So she's asked if she knows this person and she goes, no. That's good. I mean, that's good. A downward intonation on that. No, that's command tonality. That's very definitive. And then she says no again, and you'd expect her to go no. And if she went no, I'd be okay, fine, sounds really good. But she goes no. Well, which one is it? I mean, they both know, but one was very definitive and the other left room for possibility. So which one is it? Does she definitively not know this person, or is there possibility that she does? Well, it can't really be both. And she continues with this idea. There was something familiar, she says. I don't know him, but I do know him. Well, so you more likely know him. I mean, it's more likely the positive, isn't it? It's more likely that if you're gonna entertain the possibility of the positive, then it's most likely the positive. And she says something was not right. Well, yeah, for sure, something is not right here. There's a lot of incongruity here. You know what? If I was trying to lie with this one, here's the way I'd go. Is the big thing is that somebody's trying to kill her. Okay, this is the big idea here. Is somebody has a weapon and they have said that they're going to kill her. She says, kill me. Okay, open with that. Like, do it like a Bond film, like open with the action, open with that. And just as you were saying, Chase, not only does she kind of ramp up to this whole thing, but she's ramping up to it over video after video after video, rather than, look, she's there being interviewed by the police. There was somebody trying to kill her. Okay, that's the thing to start with. If it were true, because you would be upset, in my mind, you would be obsessed with that, because your life has been threatened not only by a weapon, but verbally as well. The two things are congruent. well, none of this is making sense anymore. Who we got left? Greg? Yeah, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah. Well, we say there are no single indicators of deception. I can tell you there are some pretty good indicators of, and this is one of them, and it's going to be very clear. When you ask a person, did they do something, and they say no, well, maybe no, or well, I'm not sure, or I couldn't see. That she does every one of those things, guys. This woman is doing, I'm calling it graduated degrees of denial. If you deny something, you're done. No, I didn't do it. I didn't do it unless it was Tuesday. Oh, unless it was Tuesday and I was wearing a smock. I mean, come on. You just keep adding qualifiers to something. You know this person's not telling you the truth. Let's talk a little bit about body language, because she starts off by grabbing the top of her clothes again, and she's doing an adapter and a barrier because she's playing with the clothes. Something's up. You ever seen this guy before? First time. Her blink rate goes up. She's milling at her jaw now with her shoulder, with her fist, and she's moving her thumb. She's adapting with her thumb. We haven't seen that yet. I don't know what she's going to do next. Start spinning her head around or something as we go into there. And then before she does the actual denial, she breaks eye contact and drops her eyes down into her left, into internal voice. Then when you say there's any chance you know this guy, she conditions the question. She disclaims knowing him or disclaims knowledge. She avoids the concept of having any eye contact, even claims lack of sensory memory, meaning I couldn't see him because things were there, but he seemed familiar. Come on. I mean, I'm just going to stop right there and leave you with this. Any gaslighter is going to be a master of backpedaling, disclaiming, giving no certain answer, establishing plausible deniability, so that later when you say, you said, they go, no, I didn't say that. I said this. That's what we're seeing, graduated degrees of denial. And that is a great, great indicator when somebody should be saying no, that they're lying to you.
The eyewitness is you.
And of course, it begs the question, I don't know that we've just asked you straight. Have you ever seen this guy before?
No.
Don't know him. He doesn't look like somebody you've seen somewhere before with somebody else. I mean, as you remember back, as you picture him in your mind, you cannot make any link between this guy and you.
No, I mean, I wasn't looking directly at his face. I was trying not to look at him. I do know when he did get in, there was something familiar about him, but I don't know him. So I don't know if I don't know. He seemed familiar, like I should know him, but I do not know him.
And forgive me if Kevin asks this, did he have, I know you say he's a Caucasian male, but did he have any type of accent that was noticeable to you?
I didn't know, because he was bumbling, slurring, and at first I didn't really notice anything, but like I said, he was getting so excited and stuff. As he was yelling at me, I mean, it was like he was drunk. I mean, he was, I literally, like his tongue was this thick. I didn't know what was going on. I figured he was on something, alcohol or something. I didn't know. I knew something was not right, because as he was getting excited, it was getting worse.
Okay. The slurring was getting worse.
Yes.
The stumbling on his words. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't hardly understand what he was saying. I could pick out like certain words, but he said one phrase inside made no sense. He said, I think he said it out in the garage or out in the car too. Something about killing my wife. And I'm like, I mean, I didn't say anything, but it was weird. His wording.
He said it out in the car?
He said it out in the car, yelling at me, and when he was saying he was going to kill me.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.